I just want to welcome you to our office. My wife and I run our business out of here. She's a political consultant, and I do what I do. You guys know what I do. So I want to welcome you to our office and the home of LNG Attorneys at Law, and I'm going to have one of their representatives in a little bit say something. But I want to thank all of you, because in the middle of the day, on a Friday, when there's all kinds of exciting things to do, not that this one is not just as exciting, but you made the decision to be here, and we really want to thank you on behalf of everyone that helped put together this this event. Alejo's staff and all those, we'll introduce them in a minute, but I wanted to thank you for that, because we all here come for a reason. Either because we have hope in someone that can do the job that we need in Sacramento, or someone that we think has done a lot of work already, is not just starting to talk about it, but rather has been doing it for a lifetime. And so it is a pleasure for me to help and to contribute to that. But I want to invite my former jefe. He's always my jefe, even though he doesn't pay me sometimes. I always consider my jefe. It's volunteer work. He's always going to be my jefe, because he's always has a priority to make us a priority, make people a priority. And it's a pleasure to have worked for him for so many years, and to help him win election a couple times, and now he's our supervisor. But I want to introduce him, because he's going to introduce our guest today and the reason that you are here. So without further ado, you didn't come to hear me. A quick announcement, I got to do that, otherwise I'll get it when I get home. My daughter, come here. Elisa. When we bring over 50,000 people, the largest event, not the air show, not the rodeo, our event, the Mexican Independence Day in El Isal, we bring over 50,000 people each year. It's a free event. We don't even charge $1 to get in there. And so she's running to be queen of that day. So she's selling tickets for $1. So you can buy $1, you can buy 1,000. So that's it. That's my commercial. Former council member of City of Watsonville, former mayor of City of Watsonville, attorney at Sierra LA, Superior Court attorney, also staff attorney, first assembly member from this area that was from Watsonville, but now our county supervisor, my county supervisor, Luis Alejo.
Hey, thank you, sir. Thank you. Everybody, we have a very special guest. I want to thank each and every one of you who came from Salinas. I saw some people from Soledad. We got people who came from Newark. Yay! Newark City Council member right here, Newark. We got people in the grocery stores. We got Lupe from Arteaga's grocery stores from Newark too. We got people from ag. We got people from cannabis. We got people from hospitality. We got lawyers. We got business people. We got educators. I know the legendary Ruben Pizarro from Alisal High is right here. So we got a good mix of people, but this is about community. And we're very excited that today we had Antonio Villaraigosa come and visit us. But he didn't start with this kind of event. He wanted to go meet our young people, the courageous, beautiful, resilient stories of the young people of Alisal High School on the east side. He went and they rolled out the red carpet for him. A gymnasium full of thousands of students. The band was there, the folklorico groups were there. It was really inspiring, and Antonio gave an amazing talk about believing in our young people, and I think it was very powerful. We took him to some strawberry fields to meet some farm workers and talk to some farmers. We had a luncheon with the elected officials. Then we have to tell the world how the lettuce ends up in the grocery stores, and so John McPherson, what's it called?
Organic
Grow, right? John McPherson, who's on the county board of education here in Monterey County, he was nice enough to not only talk about education, but his passion in produce, and to be able to meet the workers, many who are women, moms and grandmas who have worked many years for his company, putting food on the tables of people all over the United States. And then finally, because it's car week here, there's a lot of traffic. Don't go to Monterey right now. There's a lot of traffic that way. We suffered on the way back. But we want to get him to go learn about the hospitality industry in Monterey and all the week of events. But we took him to Laguna Seca, which is owned, one of the few racetracks in the world that's owned by the people right here in Monterey County. That event alone brought in $16 million. One event at Laguna Seca this week, $16 million, $50 million for the other events taking place. And we learned today that when the car auctions, $350 million in sales in cars happened this week right here in our own backyard.
Wow. That's great.
So Antonio got to get a good little overview, a good little grasp, but he has told me more important than anything is he wants to meet the personal connections. He wants to meet friends, he wants to meet supporters, because this is, if we're going to get him to the top post here in California, it's about relationships and people believing in him and him believing in you and getting to know our issues so that when he's there in Sacramento in that position, he's going to remember everybody that he met this day here in the Salinas Valley and in the Monterey Peninsula. But I just want to acknowledge that before I introduce them, I want to acknowledge some electeds that are here from the city of Greenfield. Give it up for Nelly Martinez. Over here, watching my brother Daniel Dodge over there. Former city council member Ernesto Gonzalez, my brother. Over there, current council member and candidate for county supervisor in Watsonville, Felipe Hernandez. Can't help me out because I got bad eyesight, you know. Oh yes, how do you do it?
That's all right.
Oh yes, former school board member here on the east side, the Alisal School District, Francis Gonzalez. Former Superior Court Judge Jose Ángel Velázquez. Good to have you here. Nice to have you.
Municipal Court Judge.
Municipal Court Judge, yes,
The only
thank you.
Latino Mexicano elected in 150 years and 125.
Thank you. Airport Commissioner from City of Salinas, Salvador Muñoz. Thank you for having me. Okay, help me.
Sal Jimenez, former planning commissioner.
And Sanchez Castillo here in Salinas. Everybody knows bankers, because we're talking about the mix, and I forgot we got a record room here too in town, you know, so we're really proud. But last but not least, we got some of our young people, and my 6 years in Assembly, we had a Young Assembly Members program every year, because when I won my Assembly race, it was the first time we had over 500 kids, mostly from Alisal High School. Everyone else was second, some from Salinas, from North Salinas, but 500 kids who couldn't even vote. And that's what we wanted, that same assignment around Antonio. Came and knocked for me and believed in me, and I never forgot that. And so every year we use our office to help uplift our young people. Now we got a young supervisors program, so now we got some of them here today. Raise your hand, young supervisor, yeah!
Class Assembly.
Yeah. Anyways, okay, now because he's going to have to head out pretty soon, but we're really honored to have this person who's been a great leader for California. A guy who grew up in the poor neighborhoods in Los Angeles, grew up with a single mom, and that's why his story was so powerful, because he talked about our young people, about overcoming the odds, overcoming whatever obstacle, be resilient, be strong, be courageous. But he ended up coming to become one of the most powerful guys in the state legislature, the Speaker of the State Assembly, and there was a program called Healthy Families, and also we extend health care to all our kids throughout the state of California. He's done a lot of accomplishments. Then he became the city council member and the mayor of the great city of Los Angeles, the biggest population base here in the great state of California, and the 6th largest economy in the world. He became the leader in the mayor's conference in our country, but now he's embarking on taking another big step. But he can't do it alone. He's here because he knows to have a strong campaign, it's going to be the support with all of you. Let's give it up for the next governor of California, my good friend, Antonio Villaraigosa.
Thank you, Supervisor. I love his energy and that full of life, and you know, a very accomplished lawyer, and never forgot where he came from, and that was the story today. And let me just say, you got to be proud of Alisal High School. And Supervisor Alejo invited me there because he knows my passion is our schools. You know, there's a lot great about America. long before this last election. A lot great about America. And one of the great things about America, it's a place where you could start from the bottom and go to the top. Historically, second to none. We're now 16th, and so we need to be focused on that. But this is a place where education can give you the road to the American dream. And going to Alisal today really, really energized me. It gave me a lot of that energy you need as you campaign. Because I've been saying wherever I go, these kids can learn.
Yep.
This notion that, maybe they grew up poor or they're English language learners or they're the first in their family to go to high school or college, that, they can't make it. It's just not true. And to see the miracles happening here. I mean, 10 years ago, they were less than, around a 50% graduation rate. Today, a 95% graduation rate. Many of these kids are going on to college. And these are public schools that are working in communities, who many of their parents have never been to high school, gone to college, work in the fields, work in ag. They're making it. And that's why I'm running for governor. I'm running for governor because I truly believe that, a great state can't be a state where we're growing apart. We've got to grow together. We can't talk about the California rebound. California's doing better than the national average, and we created more jobs than Florida and Texas combined. But, we're not growing everywhere. And we're not growing evenly. 30% of the growth has been in tech. More than 60% of the growth is along the coast. Most of the people don't live there. We've got to do a better job at growing our economy. Someone asked me about small business. We've got to do a better job about making it easier to start a business and grow your business. The fact of the matter is this is a very tough place to do business. And when you look at small business and who's in it, it's disproportionately people who are strivers. They want to work hard and do what they can to build a better life. We're going to grow the economy and grow the middle class. We've got to educate our kids, and we've got to train them for the jobs of the 21st century. By 2030, we'll be 1.5 million down in the number of college graduates we need. We'll be 1 million down in the number of people with specialized skills. The face of those people who are not making it to the 1.5 million and the million, looks a lot like all of you, like me. This state won't thrive. It won't grow and prosper in the way that it needs to if we're not educating them, if we're not investing in them. Next governor's going to have to focus on that. I've talked about those people, and I call them, some of them are a lot of them are Democrats. I call them Davos Democrats because they fly over the homes of people we left behind and they've never been in their living rooms. And I tell people, I've been in those living rooms. I've lived in those living rooms. I know those people. We can't just be for people that drive a Tesla. We got to be for people that drive a Toyota pickup truck and ride a bus like my mama did. We gotta understand that this great state has to grow together. I thank you for that introduction, but I've dedicated my life to that. I was 15 years old, and I got involved with the farm worker boycott, and I had never worked in the fields. I couldn't speak a lick of Spanish. Ahora hablo muy bien el español, pero me puedo defender. Pero la verdad es que no podía hablar nada. Pero sabía que tenía una responsabilidad de defender al trabajador, al inmigrante. I know I had a responsibility to speak out for people. And I said to the kids today, it's not enough. You guys are great, and you're going to make it. But it's not enough to make it. We got to give back. That's why I've been in public office for 20 some odd years and have been active as a community organizer, labor leader. Before that, I understood I had a responsibility. And I want to be your governor because I believe that that responsibility needs to be taken by the horns, if you will, and move ahead. We've got to address the fact that this is a state that is doing great, but we could do better. There are a lot of people screaming right now, and I'm not a screamer. And I tell people, look, and I know a lot of people want that. And you can't blame them because you hear all that noise and the anger and the hate and the divisiveness. And I tell people, the way to fight hate is not with hate. You know, the way to fight back and resist, as you hear, is to do a better job of what we're doing here. You know, most of the people that I met today working on the, you know, in the fields, they're not, or working in Organic Grow. Thank you, and I'll get that right. Organic Grow. Well, these people are working every day. They're terrified by what they hear, but they're not thinking about it all day long because they got to work. Let's help them move ahead. Let's help them get a house. Piece of the rock. Everybody, you know, I was 25 years old and I worked since I was 5, and I wanted a piece of the rock, and I bought a house at 25 years old, and you know, I worked day and night so I could get my little piece of the rock. Let's help them address, you know, college affordability so the kids, you know, can go on to get an education and become a lawyer or a doctor or an architect. There's a great architect here today, and I'm gonna go see one of his schools, and you know, let's double down on what we do here and do it better. That's the best way to take them on. Don't think for a moment that I'm not willing to stand up for our values. I am. We'll stand up for our values on health care. Health care is a right, not a privilege. We all ought to understand that. We ought to work toward that, universal health care. We ought to say every kid, no matter what zip code, no matter who your father, your mother is, in my case, you know, I didn't have one, but no matter who you are, you ought to have a right to a good education and to a college that you can afford and a good job at the end of the rainbow. Yes, we ought to protect our air and our water, and we're gonna set our path. But I'm not going to be tweeting every single day in response to someone who political fact said 75% of the stuff that comes out of his mouth is a lie or a misrepresentation of fact. I'm not going to go on TV all day long and scream at that.
You're here.
What I want to do, thank you. What I want to do, what we need to do is work together. You know, a lot of people here, they're not just from, they're from this community, but they're not all Latino. But they get it. If we're not investing in these kids, we're all not going to do well. You know, if 54% of the kids are Latino, and only about 70% of them are graduating from high school, and only 13% of them who graduate from high school are going to 4-year college, in a world where the economy's founded on intellectual capital, the state's not going to make it. So let's work together and figure it out. All of you, no matter who you are, we're all proud of Alisal. But we need more Alisals. Not all the schools in this district. In my city, when I became mayor, 44% graduation rate. 44. My high school alma mater in 1971 had a 25% graduation rate. By the time I became mayor, they had improved. It was now a 36% graduation rate. I said, we're not going to make it like this. Today, those schools that had a 44% graduation rate now have a 77% graduation rate. My alma mater is a part of a group of schools that had a 36% graduation rate. It now has an 84% graduation rate. We made education our priority. Made public safety our priority. I met the sheriff a few minutes ago and I said, hey, I lost the race because people thought I wasn't tough enough on crime. In the 8 years I was mayor, we went from one of the most violent big cities to one of the safest big cities. 49% drop in violent crime, 45% drop in homicide. So I don't want to go on and on. I want to thank you, and particularly I want to thank you, Supervisor, because you have been with, he's busy. He's got a job, and a big job. And he spent the entire day with me yesterday. He came last night with me at the Pájaro Valley Democratic Club, and some of you, Sergio, where are you? Right here. Sergio, gracias for opening up your offices, and your wife, where's your wife at? Lupe, thank you. Look, you don't have to be here. All of you, nobody wakes up in the morning and say, I want to go to a fundraiser and I want to go write a check for a politician. Come on, and particularly right now. But look, I didn't invent this world. There's too much money spent on politics, but the fact of the matter is, it's the world we live in. And as a community organizer, I worked with the IAF, the International Industrial Area Foundation, and they taught us there's the world the way it is, and there's the world the way you want it to be. You want to work toward the world the way you want it to be, but it's the world the way it is. We need resources. We need to go out and vote. So this is the resource part. But let me speak out first about the vote. In our country, the last time I looked, we're 36 among Western democracies in terms of the percentage of people that voted. So none of us are voting enough. 36. In the last election, whites voted at 69%, blacks voted at 67%, Asians voted at 49%, and Latinos voted at 47%. That's not healthy for our democracy. We gotta vote. Since I was a kid, I used to say, with broken Spanish, Señora, tenemos que aprender el inglés. We have to learn English. Not because I was an English only. I've never been an English only guy. Of course not. We should speak 2 and 3 and 4 languages if we can, like they do in Europe. Everybody speaks multiple languages. The world is getting smaller. Let's speak as many as we can. But you got to learn the language so that you can navigate. I've said, you got to register to vote. You got to become a citizen. Why? Because nobody's going to listen to you if you don't have a vote. You got to vote. So we're going to have to tell people, you got to vote. You got to go out there. You got to exercise your citizenship. And that's going to be a big part of this. And then there's the resources. I'm behind right now. A couple of people have said, I know you're going to do this. And I said, well, I know I'm going to do this, but I'm behind right now. I'm running behind. Now I used to run a little bit, play a little stuff. I've been behind before. 12 out of 13 races I was behind, the underdog, and came out 12 out of 13 times. But I got to get resources. I got to get folks to write checks. I tell people, not everybody can give. I think the maximum amount is $58,400. Not everybody can write that check, but everybody can write $25. Not everybody, but most of us, certainly everybody in this room, except for the young high school kids. They can do it. They can write a $10 check, $25 check. We can write checks, and we have to. This democracy matters. I got a track record. I got passion. Like you, I've never forgotten where I came from. I always knew I had a responsibility to give back. So I'm going to need you. I want to thank you for coming. I'll do a question and answer. I see him ready to say something, so I'll let him say something, and then I'll answer a couple of questions, because I want you to feel like we're interacting a bit. I had a 7 o'clock, and then I told my folks, I said, come on, man. I said, I'm going to be here for 30 minutes, and then leave. That doesn't make any sense. So I was lucky enough I got to change my flight, so I can stay here. So why don't you say what you're going to say, and then I'm going to answer some questions.
Well, first of all, I missed a few people or didn't do a proper introduction, so I'm going to try it again. Well, let's give it up for a council member from the city of Newark, Maria Susi Collazo, right here. That's where we go. Now I want to go south to Greenfield. My good friend, Greenfield City Councilwoman, Avelina Torres. Yeah, there you go. From the Watsonville Parks and Rec Division, a fellow UC Berkeley graduate, came back to her hometown. She's going to run for city council down the road. Let's get Ana Hurtado right here. Next generation. Go Bears. From Saturday, because he suffered through traffic. Let's give it for Pete Carrillo and his wife. And of course, we're really thankful that he opened his doors to get us to get to know his company, Organic Girl, meeting all these amazing workers. But I want to reemphasize, he's on the County Board of Education, John McPherson. Thank you, John. Just to receive Antonio at his shop, so we're thankful and he made that sacrifice.
And received us very well. And you know, actually, a reporter asked me, he says, "You're always talking about the two Californias, and isn't it kind of ironic that you went to a place that serves high-end premium produce and you know, you're talking about?" I said, "What's ironic about that?" I said, "You know, no, but I'm not. We're all for wealth creators. This is America. We want people to create wealth. We just want people to invest in people."
And why can't all Californians have high quality
That's
produce?
exactly right. So let me answer a couple of questions. I don't want to go on and on, but you got a little wine and put some more in if you need some. But with the LA Times there, I went to the home of Mr. Cabrera, Ricky Cabrera, and he has this tequila place, right? So of course, I had the LA Times there and they're taking pictures, and you know, most politicians would like not drink a tequila. I said, "Well, I'm not going to the house of tequila. We're not going to have a tequila shot." And of course, that's going to be the shot that they're going to have. Villaraigosa, you know, whatever, you know. I said, you know what, nobody. I'm not a teetotaler. So let me ask some questions about any of the issues. I know some of you have various issues, and you know, I'll try to keep it short so I can do a few questions, and we'll go.
There's a great need of farm workers' housing,
Yes,
especially in this valley.
yeah. Let me talk about housing overall. I had a round table with some of the electeds here. And we talked about housing. And I said, look, the state has got to be an active partner, not a passive partner, but an active partner to address this housing crisis. So what do we need to do? They're looking at putting a housing bond on the ballot. That's good. We'll do another one when I'm governor, because the crisis is that big. But we're not going to just throw money at the problem. So I'm going to put a housing trust fund, as I did while I was mayor of LA. And we're going to leverage that housing trust fund, and we're going to reward cities and counties that are putting up their own money. That's the way to spread out more. But also doing things like regulatory reform. When I was mayor of LA, I got the legislature to reduce the time that it takes to approve projects for a football stadium, to reduce that sequence time. So I tell people, if we could do that for a football stadium, why not for affordable housing? Why not for major infrastructure projects? Should communities be able to weigh in? Of course. But can they weigh? Why does it take 8 years to do that? It makes no sense. So that's, if they want to access that money, they're going to have to address regulatory reform. We're going to have to look folks, we're growing. You see that by the traffic we have. We could put our head in the sand, in the ground, and not acknowledge it, but we're growing. So guess what? You get a lot of people that push back and say, I don't want it in my backyard. But guess what? You're leaders. I took them on all the time. Said, look, I respect that. But we've got traffic and congestion because we're not building housing. So if they're doing the right thing, density bonuses, height variances, transit-oriented development, you know, putting housing density along places where it makes sense, they get more money. If they're saying no to every project and not doing that, they don't access the money. It's the way it has to be, because we have got to address this housing crisis. But the best way, the reason why there'll be a transit-oriented development component to it, because the best way to address traffic, I said this everywhere I went in LA. We didn't fix the traffic because we're still growing. We still haven't built out the system. The best way to address traffic is to address sprawl. If you can't afford to live where you work, you're going to commute long distances. So affordable and workforce housing has to be focused where people are working. Create more of a balance. It's called a job housing balance. I know a lot about that because I was a mayor of a big city. We're going to have to do more of that. So we're going to incentivize people, leverage those people that are putting up their own money. Yes, sir. No, I'll take a couple. I'm good. I'll take a couple. Yes, sir.
One comment first of all, and then
Can I have a bottle of water for somebody?
First of all, the comment is, no fueron los trompudos that made the laws that he's, whatever he's doing. I mean, we need to get Congress to change the laws for meaningful immigration reform.
Yes, thank you.
And that's what's needed here. And I'd like to see California as a state leverage their prowess as a state to get those changes done. That's what's needed.
You know, look, I've been standing up, you know, I'm third generation American and Mexican descent. I've been here my whole life. I didn't grow up in an immigrant experience. I said in Spanish, I think you understood me. I didn't speak a lick of Spanish when I grew up. Ahora hablo español, but you know, I'm going to fight for those people. We should all fight for them. America is great because we have welcomed people from all over the world. Not just, don't buy this that it's only the high-wage workers. Yes, we need high-wage, highly educated people to come to America. Of course we do. But you know, all of them have contributed. Talk to ag. Talk to hospitality, talk to construction, talk to the service industry. You know, all of those industries have, you know, a lot of immigrant people. And so I am going to stand up, and I think you're right. We ought to leverage the power that we have in the state to push these legislators, both Democrat and Republican. I mean, you know, I'm not just going to focus on one side, both of them. To figure this out. Let's figure it out. Come on.
We got representatives in power for a long time that are Democrats that ain't done nothing.
That's right.
And Republicans.
And Republicans.
My question now, as I circle back around, is as governor, as a businessman, businesswoman in this right here, we need common sense when it comes to making these laws that are going to affect us, because there is no common sense anymore. It's so crazy. It's getting difficult for us to interpret the laws, to apply them so that we can do things and keep employing the people that we have. Need common sense, for crying out loud, for us that are on the ground having employees.
And we need to listen.
Thank
you. You know, on both sides, too many people walk in like this. You know, I like listening to a broad cross-section of people. I like, you know, I know more and more in the legislature on both sides of the aisle. Some people just don't meet with people they disagree on. What? Bring them in. Make your case. Maybe you learn something. I'm a big believer. I don't know everything, and I think you're right. It's not just business, though, for sure. Particularly for small business. We're doing things in Sacramento that aren't working for small business. They're just not. But it's also for cities, for the mayors and the council members here. I mean, once you go, now you're a county supervisor. You know what the joke used to be in my office? I always knew the answer. I said, "Who voted for that bill?" They'd all look at me. You did, sir. I voted for that. I mean, we gotta see the impact. All these unfunded mandates we're putting on the county, on the cities, on the schools. You know, and then no money coming with it, you know, with small business. I mean, you know, layer upon layer of rules. You got to hire lawyers, multiple lawyers to figure it out. You know, almost all the rules, if you look at them, oh, wow, this is good. But if you're not listening to business, you don't know the impact. And if you're not evaluating it from time to time, how's this working? This good idea I had, not so well. I think we can't be afraid. I have 20 years experience doing this now. This is not my first rodeo, everybody. And you know, over time I made some mistakes. And not everything I thought was what it was is what it is. And you have, in public service, you have to be willing to figure that out. And I think the word common sense, you know, I saw this last night, Pajaro Valley Democratic Club. I didn't say everything they wanted to hear. I mean, when I tell you, believe me, it's not real popular among Democrats when you tell them, hey, I'm not going to scream at this guy day in and day out. I want to do something here. We got to do it better here. Now, at first, they don't like it, but then they start thinking about it. Yeah, you're right, huh? Let's focus on the problems we have here. Because guess what? There are a lot of things we need to work on. That's the best way to fight that noise. Doesn't mean we're not going to stand up. We are. I will. I got a history of standing up. Look me up. I got a history. Bush, Schwarzenegger, Pete Wilson. I stand up when I need to. But if all I did was fight Pete Wilson, I never would have got healthy families. 750,000 people got health care. I never would have gotten the biggest school bond in U.S. history. $9 billion bond. And it was the first one that put it in the cities, because before they would only put it in the new developments. All of us would vote for it, and they put it in the new developments. I'm the guy that changed that. So I said, hey, my taxpayers are paying for this state bond, and we're not getting any schools. So, look, we got to do a better job here. And we've got to listen to people like you. And, you know, I know some of the folks in the cannabis industry are here. We passed an initiative, and now they're still, you know, they're pushing back and not implementing it. We've got to listen to people and figure it out. And, you know, I tell people I've been around since I was 15 years old, community organizer, and I've learned something. I don't know everything. So you got to listen to people and try to figure things out and try to find that place where you can build consensus and move ahead. I'll take a couple more. Yes.
Governor to be Antonio Villaraigosa.
Pray to God. Pray to God. And I pray to God.
You will be governor, but let me tell you, my son now is at Palma High School. That's a private school. My colleague, the Dream Academy, that's the Señor Ruben Pizarro, I'm not sure he's here. He graduated from Palma High School. Mi compadre Ricky Cabrera, you were at 75 Heber Street, a bunch of tequila. I know. He's a graduate from Alisa High School.
He was here.
I didn't see him.
Oh no, man, I thought
he wasn't here.
No, remember the teacher was here.
Pizarro, let me tell you, Jesse G. Sanchez is the architect, the political architect of the Latino political infrastructure in Monterey County. Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. He graduated from Alisa High School 51 years ago, 1966. Un servidor graduated from Alisa High School in 1976, 41 years ago. Ernesto Garcia Velázquez, my nephew, the principal at Alisa High School. So some of us came here from other places.
Is your nephew?
That's my nephew.
Love him.
Y no me habla el güey, but that's okay. Y habla del corazón. Sergio, no, what do I say all the time? You always introduce me as that. ¿Qué digo? Me vale madre. Okay? And we won several times. Fernando Chavez knows me on a first name basis. Not because I'm a big lawyer, porque soy hocicón. Y estoy aquí para ayudar. Gracias, y va a ser gobernador.
Thank you, gracias. I don't want to, I know it's late and Friday, you're going home, but I want to thank you all. And I want to say this. I really need your help. I believe I am going to be the next governor. I've been through a lot of these battles now. Some of you watch them, the older folks here watch those battles. I get how we do this. We got to build a momentum. We got to build a machine. It will not just be this community. I believe me, it will be a broad, multicultural, broad, you know, multiracial coalition of people up and down the state who understand we need a leader that can't just bang on his chest and say how great we are. We've got to make more people great. We've got to invest in more people. We've got to build infrastructure again. And we've got to be commonsensical, as he said. about the things that we do. We can't do all the things overnight, everybody. You learn that in these jobs when you've been around for a while. Someone asked me, are you for single payer? Well, I'm for universal health care, and I've been for single payer my whole life philosophically, but it's a $400 billion price tag. Everybody, we have a $180 billion budget, and we're looking at a $22 million cut from Trump. Let's start first things first. Let's deal with a $22 million cut. Not everybody wants to hear that. But you got to be straight with people about that. I want to be straight and say to people, look, we can do a lot together, but we're going to have to row together. And I'm going to need you. So thank you for coming. Please sign up. Write a check. Last thing, I met a county supervisor, former supervisor, Mark Shapiro. He wants to do an event. My mother used to sell Tupperware. My mother used to sell Avon. She used to sell Stanley products. Why? Because she needed a few bucks. And she'd always say, comadre, come over. Comadre is like, you know, you're the godmother, you know. And say, come over to the house. You don't have to buy anything. And then they come over to the house. But comadre, you got to have this Tupperware. You got to have this makeup. And then she'd say, oh, but comadre, you got to do your own party. You got to make a little money. That's what fundraising, concentric circles of relationships. There are people here that have their own relationships, and everybody can write a check. So I got to implore on you, let's put this together. Let's grow this bigger. And then, as we get closer to the election, we got to bring everybody out. There's going to be a lot of people on the ballot next year. I tell people, I need you and you need me, because I am going to move the needle on this turnout. We're going to need each other. We're going to want people to come out. I tell people, as long as you come out, I don't care who you vote for. I believe they vote for me, but come on. If we have a high turnout election, I'm going to be the next governor of the state. There's no, they know it and I know it. If we have a low turnout election, I'm not going to be. It's as simple as that. So, need you. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
To you, hermano.
Thank you, brother. So this is a fundraiser. So Sergio's going to announce some of our co-sponsors for tonight's event. So Sergio?
I'm going to do more than that, because nothing is possible without people that have faith, and they said, I'm going to put my money where I think it belongs. And, so I want to recognize and bring you up here. Joey and Nick Maxwell, come up here. They're our major I wanted to say a few words, because this young man, and because I'm 50 years old, they're taller than me, but this young man came from across the country to start a business in San Benito County and to put people to work and to do the things they need to do around this whole new industry, which is called medical marijuana. So I wanted to address it because they have continued to invest in this community. They hired me to come and help them connect to community organizations to donate money from their proceeds. So before even they made money, they wanted to meet people so they can donate. And they chosen Teatro Campesino. They chosen Joven de Antaño, which is a senior program, the only senior program in San Benito County. And they chosen them to give them included the Hispanic Foundation in San Jose. So I wanted them to talk a little bit, because I think that it's important to do that. So Nick,
yeah, so we came out here about 6 years ago, originally from Nashville, Tennessee. Come from a long line of farmers. Our background's in finance, but we decided to come out here because of the whole cannabis opportunity, and we've really kind of fallen in love with San Benito and Hollister. It reminds us a lot about Nashville, kind of like where our roots come from. So we're just really excited to be out here, and because of the cannabis industry is such a controversial subject, we thought, we really need to engage the community. This is something we really need to be, a part of, to try to remove the stigma that's attached to it. So, we're really excited to be out here, to be involved with the community and meet folks and support them, the way that we can. So,
they brought their mom and dad, the whole family.
Yeah. About 6 months ago, our family moved out here to join the business. So wow. We're really excited about that. Yeah.
They're setting up roots very quickly, because Joey's wife is a Latina, and she's a teacher in the school district, in Salinas High School District. So Thank you very much. I also want to ask Peter Brazil to come up here. I know he don't want to say much, but you know what? LNG, LP, attorneys at law, from the beginning, when this community has been a struggle either with the schools, with whatever it is, politics, they helped me file a lawsuit against Governor Schwarzenegger a long time ago when he was trying to redistrict, and at the time they were trying to remove Gray Davis. And they did a pro bono. They put hundreds of thousands of dollars of their own work just to help the community, the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. Every single community that I bring to them, they help them. And that's a part, when he was talking about no lawyers, I said, no, we need some lawyers. Like Jose, like all of you guys that are attorneys. So Peter Brazil, he's one of the attorneys, staff attorneys with LNG. So, and they're the host of all this because they're the landlord here too.
We take a lot of pride in supporting proper candidates that we seem to see as that have vision to support our communities and our state in this case. And so we are very proud to help assist in this endeavor.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And the other is Pete Carrillo. Pete Carrillo, thank you very much for your support. Ocean Mist and the great wine that you all had. Caracholi wine, he was our wine sponsor, but thank all of you. But I want to thank my wife, Lupe Sanchez. She's my Javier Gomez, he's legislative aide. Linda Gonzalez, Monica, UC Merced, where our future governor started working on UC Merced, and then she was the first one that entered the class. But thank you, all of you.
Yeah. Last but not least, this is a fundraiser, so nothing says I love you like a check. So please, before you leave, fill out your form, which is an endorsement form. Please write a check to Antonio, and down the road, please be open to volunteering to help this man get back to Sacramento, not as an assembly speaker, but as the next governor of California. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for being here.
Villaraigosa for governor, so.
Villaraigosa for governor.
The last thing is, everybody, seriously, you all have stories. In my website, it's, I think it's AntonioForCalifornia.com. I'm asking people to tell their stories. Tell me your story, how you got here, how your family got here, you know, how you made it, you know, what you want for your kids. I want to hear those stories, because when you're going up and down, you're working 18 hours a day, those stories inspire you. Please, okay?